Hey, 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 how you doing?
Hey, how's everybody going today?
Hey guys, welcome and thanks for joining us again on WTF Talks. You've got Hannah Daniker and Dave McDonald, and we are going to talk a little bit about work and a little bit about life. And frankly, we never really know where this conversation is going to go. So hang with us for 10 minutes. If you love it, that's great. If you don't, click and don't watch it anymore.
Click and go away. No.
No, not go
So
away. Just come back next time. It might be better next time.
that's just how it sounded like it would have naturally rolled off of my tongue. But no, yes, come back next time if you hate it today. But this time we are talking about food and breaks and lunch and breakfast and coffee and how those things work and how you do that in a work from home life and how you take time for yourself or you sit at your computer or what do you do for your breakfast, lunch, and dinners? What's your
Well, and yeah, like we want to
thing?
talk about workplace culture and what it's like in your work environment, whether it's home, work from home, or work in the office, and how does your company and how do you individually manage breaks and working hours and some of the discrepancy in all of that. So we were actually having a conversation this morning with our executive team about, I don't know, last week's numbers, and I got off on a tirade. Not a tirade, really. Just kind of,
Shocker.
yeah. I went
Tangent.
down. I went down a bunny trail about the difference between workplace culture in America and workplace culture in Canada, and because
Is
I
is that what you were talking about?
that was really what I was talking about.
It's not what I
So
took from that. That's funny.
that's hilarious. And
But kind of
so,
the importance of why we're talking about this, to be honest.
right,
Like
because what I
there it
said
is
crushed you.
a little
And
bit, yeah. And I did have to be like, wait a dang second, like, sorry, before I go reevaluate a lot a lot of corrective work that I've been doing in the last couple of months. Let me ask what you're talking about here. But yeah, so you had mentioned, and we can come back to the difference between Canada and America later if you want, because I'm interested to hear your take on that after I get rid of the brain fog that comes with the rest of the conversation. But this is something that's important for people to know about as they're interacting and seeing a non-transparent conversation about this go down, how this type of talk or conversation could be impacting the employees around you. But anyway, so what you had been saying was you were talking to somebody who works 8 to 5:30, blah blah blah. This is how they go. This is their work schedule. They're not really taking any breaks. Didn't really seem like there was
opportunity for
lunch.
that in the way that
Yeah.
she engaged in her work. I didn't feel like it was necessarily from the employer, but it definitely felt like she was shackled to her desk personally from 8 to 5:30. Um,
Hmm.
and I don't do shackling. Like I I couldn't respond to that in a healthy way as an employee. And as an employer, I try not to lead people to a place that I'm willing to go myself. Like I believe that leadership is about showing your team how to go where they're going. Otherwise, you're dictating, not leading. Leaders go where they're telling other people to go, and so I try to. That's always kind of my mindset. Um, so yeah, what we were talking about was this lady who's like working so hard and still feeling like she wasn't necessarily um, getting everything done, and just the pressure of that in her life. And so I got talking about how, when I was a little boy, coming into my career, I worked from typically 8 to 5, but often a little bit more on either or both sides. Um, and I didn't take breaks, and I often have eaten lunch at my desk. In my earliest career, in my 20s, I probably took a full lunch every day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I would, because um, I would go out to lunch every day, either with another coworker or by myself. And I don't recommend this from a budgeting standpoint. And we were poor as poor could be at the time, but I still went out to lunch every day for that mental break that people so badly need. Um, and I don't know that in a work from home environment that's being done or is healthy. I don't even know where that sits in today's standard.
The
'Cause
difference, the
I'm not.
difference
Go ahead.
The difference was you had sounded very, very proud while you were talking about it. You were, and not about the breaks that you were taking as a 20-year-old, but about this woman who never leaves her desk and about your current state of never leaving your desk. And I mean, bless mom, bless your wife. She brings you breakfast, lunch, and dinner at your desk every day if you're not able to leave. Like, let's be really clearly, you're very blessed with a good setup. But the way that you were discussing it, it sounded like this was a sense of pride that you had in this woman who never left her desk. And I have been spending the last like 3 or 4 months really working on breaking some horrible food habits for myself. And just like, I suck at eating breakfast. I suck at eating lunch. Like, I'm just bad at it. I get so much anxiety around the normal workday every day that the time it takes to step away from my computer to eat the food, and you do have to step away from your computer because to eat, you're either using your mouth or your hands. And for work, I'm either using my hands to do research on people that I will call or my mouth to speak to them as I'm calling them. And so I don't really feel the ability. And even when I'm working at my desk eating and trying to do research, I still feel ineffective because I'm like, I'm not doing the work that most needs to be done, which is the phone call, which can't happen because I have food in my mouth. And so I've struggled against this about this is what I want. Like, I need to be able to take this break, but I feel a need to be effective, to be proactive, to be good. And taking that time to sit in between and step away, whether it be for 10 minutes or 30 minutes. And I have to, typically, I need about 15 minutes to make the food and then about 15 minutes to eat the food. So there's that additional time that's added there, but like that 30 minutes, it's really hard for me to step away, to be like, let me go be non-effective and do this. And what it normally ends up with is, well, let me listen to this audiobook while I'm doing it, or let me listen to this. And this is how I'm broken. Let me be very clear. This is also not good. But I I struggle with that so much and have been working on that so much. And then to hear you be like, "Da, da, 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 da," and like smiling ear to ear about this woman who's changed to her desk, I was like, okay, I need you to stop because I know you're not asking me to do this. This is not you directly asking me to, but the way at which the joy you are speaking about her as your child, I want to impress you. As your child, I want you to talk about me like that. And so I'm like, I was fighting with it and battling with it. And I was like, well, I actually just need to stop you here and ask if you're asking us to do this or what that is. Because like I was going to go down an 8-hour spiral about what I was doing. And so, but it is just interesting. And so I think that it's important for employers to remember, like I talk about all the time in my Gen Z presentation, your communication matters. Like what you're saying matters. The way that you're saying what you're saying matters. And it's our fault too. Like, let me be so crystal clear. The way that I'm interpreting that is my problem, but I can't get over my problem unless I talk about it. So I don't know. That was just kind of where I stood with it. I was like, wait, wait, wait.
Yeah, and
Let's
and
chat.
so let me be really clear in this moment. Um, One of the things that I'm most proud about you, Hannah Danaker, is your ability to see, assess, and ask that question. Because knowing that you needed the clarity for your own mental well-being for the next few days, um, is super important. And I just love that we have a relationship where we don't always agree, but we can always talk.
Truth.
And um, I think that that's the upside of family business, that we can always talk. But the downside is it's very hard for you to say, I don't give a crap what he said. I'm going to do it this way.
Oh, I literally can't. That's not possible. I wish that I could. I wish that I could, and maybe in a different world, absolutely. But
Right.
yeah, yeah, when it
And
comes to
so,
this, there's no way.
so in family business, I think one of the things that we really have to work on and be careful about is that we create pathways for the owner's kids to respectfully but publicly disagree or question. Um, and as the owners, we need to have the confidence to allow that. And really, we should be inviting that from all of our staff, not just our relatives. And so it's a challenge. It's a challenge when your staff say, I think that's wrong. Um, but I think that
Not
real leadership invites that, in my
mm,
opinion.
sure, not necessarily wrong. Like I want to. You have a good setup. You have someone that brings you food. You have the nutrition that is required. You have flexibility to stop when you want to stop because you are the owner.
Yeah.
In another situation, that lunch. So I don't want to tell you, like, I don't want to be like, you're doing it wrong. What
No.
I'm like I don't I really don't want, like,
But it would
everybody's
be wrong for
situation is
you to
so
do it the way
separately.
I'm doing it.
Exactly. And so, and for me to understand what you're doing as the only truth is what is wrong. And that was what I needed to ask. And
Yeah.
and chat about. But where do you, how do people create space? And this is more a question for me. How do I create space for people who aren't doing it wrong, but are doing it the way that best suits them while not feeling like a failure myself? How does one do that? Asking
Well,
for a friend,
I
you know?
think part of it, and somebody taught me this a long time ago, because our business is managed really week to week. We see how many people are working every week, every day, and then we pay them every week and we invoice for them every week. And so we have really tight timelines in which we see data about the success of our business. And um, you can get really uptight about a bad day, or I could. And just
Hmm.
emotionally, it would really, like, if I saw a day when our number was of people out to work was lower than I am willing for it to be, it could really create a lot of anxiety, and I could come out in a pretty aggressive and not nice way of talking to the staff about fixing that issue. Um, so for you, the lesson out of that I would take for you is don't manage yourself day to day. You're the queen of goal setting, and so manage yourself quarterly, annually, and know what you're doing every day and have a plan for it. And I'm sure that you do. But I would encourage any employee, any worker, any executive to have like an agenda for the day, but um, to allow room for problems to come into the day that don't allow them to accomplish it, and not to feel like a failure because they didn't get through their whole to-do list. And that can be a
Hmm.
real hard thing for certain personality types and for certain people. And it's actually very easy for me. Um, I have the mindset of um, failing forward is really built into who I am, and
Mm-hmm.
mindset where I forgive myself. It's interesting. I was talking with my counselor recently, and I would tell people that I forgive myself very easily. And my counselor was like, "Why?" You raised your eyes on that. That's interesting. I want to dig into that a little bit more. But I was like, she was like, "You need to give to yourself the same grace that you give to other people."
Mm.
And um, and so on like individual tasks, I really um, like if I don't get something done, if I don't show up on time to a meeting, um, I'm too gracious with myself. But if I don't hit my objectives and goals for the year, if I don't, um, and when I go back to that 35-year life plan I built when I was 35, if I'm not on track, I'm pretty ticked.
Mm.
Um, and so, um, yeah, those are
Don't
challenges.
don't hold it so closely.
Yeah,
Leave it out. That's
yeah,
really interesting. That's really interesting. Giving grace to yourself the same way that you would give it to others would be
yeah.
challenging.
So the question then is, and this wasn't what my counselor said, but it's just a natural thought process, is if I feel it's challenging to give the same grace to other people, to give that same grace to myself, is that an indicator that you're not giving yourself enough grace, or that you're trying to be too nice to other people and give them too much grace?
Well, dang.
Boom, right? So I
Oh,
think too.
I have no idea. I have truly not a clue.
Well, I would suggest to you that it is one of my favorite words, or actually sayings, both and. You're probably being too gracious with other people, and you're probably not being gracious enough with yourself if your consideration of every matter is, oh, they're okay, they'll fix it. We need to support them more. I need to take on more leadership. I need to, she was really all over me about my tendency that every failure in the business is mine, and in organizational leadership, outside the business, all those failures belong to me because I'm a leader, um, and the people that are doing the tasks are um, free and clear because they're giving their best. And so when is your best not enough? So just recently we had a new person that we started on a sales role, and we had them on a monthly contract to acquire new business. And they came in with real clear statements about what they could deliver, what they could bring to us. And we're like, okay, I'm willing to give this a shot. Um, and then it didn't work out. They didn't hit any of their self-proclaimed capabilities to fulfill. And at 30 days, we pulled the plug. And initially, the response to that was, well, that was too quick. I was like, oh, really, was it? Like, it hit 0 of 5. So I just felt like it was fair. I'm not trying to be punishing. I just wanted, this is what you said. This is how it measured up. I'm not angry with you. We took a shot. It didn't work. Give you
Yeah.
a great character reference. Think you're an amazing human being. Outperformed on, some of the basic metrics that we set. Um,
But
but
goals are goals.
but
So from a different perspective, then take the employer out of it, make it more personal. If you're setting goals for yourself and you're not hitting them, how does that come back to evaluating your own performance and what you're doing? So it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to work through your 30-minute lunch. Like failure does not mean give the
no,
extra 30 minutes in the middle. It's evaluate. I don't know. Well, I've got ideas, but I didn't ask the question.
that all goals need to be reevaluated um, in the short term, in the midterm, and in the long term. So it's
Okay.
great. It's great on January 1st to lay out a list of 363 goals for the year like you do. Or what?
Gotta tell people, I set a goal about 3 years ago, 3 years ago, to go to like a self-defense class. I finally just did it. So just because you're setting them for today or tomorrow doesn't mean that they're going to happen immediately. But setting those goals does still help you create them later down the line, which is just a valuable now.
Yeah. And so when you reevaluate them, you need to reevaluate them based on, is this the most important thing now?
Hmm.
Um, and you need to evaluate them based on, well, just need to go back to the whole SMART thing. Specific, so it was specific,
Specific,
but is it, how's the measuring going? Um,
attainable,
is it still attainable? Is it realistic?
timely.
And time bound? Well, should I release the time bound to something further down? Um, or some things like your self-defense, it's like, yeah, I really want to do it, but
It's
um,
not the time, not the time, not the
today's
time.
not the time. So,
And then it
so I'm
was.
not taking it off the list, but I am removing the time boundary.
Hmm.
And then sometimes it just needs to be, should it be on the list? Like, is it still relevant? We could recreate the SMART analogy or thing for reevaluating the goals. Let's try and do that.
Okay. So like just smart but reevaluation.
Yeah.
S.
So S would be smart. Is this still a smart goal? Like, is it smart for me to be chasing this? Is it wise? Is it prudent? Is this something that I should still be doing? Okay.
Or
Um,
I was gonna go, dang it, I was gonna go to meaningful for M for that. Like, does this still have
okay.
purpose?
Okay. We can work on that. M would be, I like meaningful, so we can come up with another S for the top. Have I articulated it well? Like, is this the right way to say it and to consider it? Or do I need to reframe the goal into something else? Right? Because sometimes when you're looking at your goals, you're like, oh, that's what I said, that's what I got to do. But like maybe that goal has changed to a place where your um so your goal to do self-defense is like, I got a taser. And that is a form of self-defense.
Yeah.
Um,
Nah, I got a taser. I got a flashlight that has this ridge on it that I can beat people with, prospectively, if they try and hurt me. I've got pepper spray. I've got all the things now. A big bad dog, which is my
bad
favorite part.
dog. You're all lined up. You're all lined up.
But that's actually an interesting point is I didn't have the wherewithal to take that defense class in those moments. But what I did have the wherewithal was to purchase the pepper spray, was to get the dog that made me comfortable. So even though I didn't hit the goal that I wanted to, which is perhaps a good way to evaluate what you're talking about when you're trying to bring them back forward. Even though I couldn't hit that goal when I originally wanted to, I was able to do some other stuff that continued to push the goal forward down the line. And then later, when the time came and I had the space and availability, I completed it forward. But there was more to it than I originally knew or understood. And so that's kind of, I mean, in retrospect, like just a decent way to evaluate it. Do you have the opportunity to be doing your goal right now? No. Well, then and this is something I talk about a lot with people is if it's not going to happen now, that's fine. Don't feel bad about it not happening now. Move the boundary, move the timeline. So like if it's not happening in these 12 months, but it's still important and it's still measurable and it's still like just change the time. Just say yes, but in 12 more months or in 6 more months or in 2 more months. That was actually a nice self evaluation. I've got some goals I'm thinking about and working on that I can move my time. It's not that'll be beneficial for.
right? And so like it is really important that you reevaluate your goals as you go through them. Um, and yeah, like you have such
So
great thoughts about that.
Well, thank you. I love goal setting. I also give a goal setting presentation. She's not very big yet, but she is very good. So if your staff needs some support on setting their goals, I've got a good 60-minute chat for you. But
Let's go. Let's go.
all right. So we're not going to redefine smart.
I
We're
can't.
just, it's good. It's good what it is. That's why it's so famous. But be specific, be measurable, be attainable, be timely, have meaning to it, have substance to it, continue to push it forward, but don't be afraid to reevaluate what you've already stated,
Yeah,
which is helpful.
and maybe the reevaluation thing is really just like pivot. Pivot,
Pivot! Pivot!
pivot.
I'll be there for you. Na, 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 na. Okay. Well, this has been so much fun. A crazy episode, one could call it. Is there any thoughts, words, pieces of wisdom you have for the crowd before we leave them?
Yes, working in a family business is hard and it is amazing. And as they say, the hard is what makes it great. And so, what I would say is, if you have the opportunity, do it and don't be married to it. I'm not
Like,
saying don't be married to your
don't be
spouse.
married to the person you bring into the family business.
There's merit for that, but I wouldn't say it. Some people have very successful partnerships that way, but don't be married to everyone staying in the business forever. Be very open-handed with your family. Give them opportunities to succeed, and give them opportunities to grow and go if that's what they need.
Mm, that's that's beautiful, actually. Um, That's great. I love that. I think I have one thing that runs through my brain as well, just in the concept of what we were talking about at the beginning with the breaks and the separation. But mom said something to me the year that I was living with you. And she had just been watching what we were doing. And I mean, that was the year we were starting BTG USA and we were doing some really ridiculous things. That was the first year that I was publishing my first book. So while shit came out that year and like there was just a lot that was going on and I had my head down in a way that I've never had my head down before, or again. And I was working really hard and mom slapped it out of me kindly. She was like, Hannah, what are you doing? I was like, what do you mean? What am I doing? I'm trying to do like I'm trying to do a lot of stuff right now. What do you mean? What am I doing? She was like, no, no, like what are you doing? Like, are you okay? Like, why are you doing this? And I was like, well, if I do it today, I won't have to do it tomorrow. If I do it today, I'll set my future self up for success in a way that I don't have to. And
Right?
she was like, that's wrong. She's like, I love you. That's silly. What you're doing today is creating habits that will last for the rest of your life. And so, yes, do today what you want to set up for your future self tomorrow, but don't do it in a way that sets your future self up for failure because of what you're doing right now and the way that you're doing it. And that was really, really valuable for me and really helpful for me. And so just as I was asking you those questions around like what does that person do, how does that person move forward, I know I think a lot about what I'm doing today for my future kids of tomorrow. And you do so much of what you do today for Brian and Bradley and I of today, and kind of that support and the line of thought of, are you treating other people better than you're treating yourself? Are you giving other people more grace? And it's really helpful for me to think about like the trajectory of that line and what that will look like. And it's easy for me to think about doing that for my kids. So hard to think about doing it for myself. But if I think about doing it for myself for the betterment of setting my future kids up for success, through types of conversations like this, it becomes so much easier. So, anyways, I don't know. That's just an interesting thought. It's so weird how family and business are so separate. But even when they're not involved at all, it is still so significant. Um, so
Yeah.
curious thoughts. But
Yeah, there's a lot on the go, and that was a really wise statement from your mom. In your 20s, you're building your habits that are going to be the way you interact with work for a lifetime unless you have a crisis that changes all of that. And
I
so
agree.
I was talking with a guy the other day who was a 33, and he was just talking about um, he goofed off a lot in his 20s. Um, and eventually bought his grandma's house when she passed away and found out that there's more to life than partying. And going to the bank in a way that he could pay his bills became very important to him
Mm,
because he bought his grandma's house. It clung to him closer. And you get a
mm-hmm,
letter from the bank saying, "Hey, we might take this from you." It's like, hold on, this is grandma's place. Okay, I got to
mm-hmm,
figure this out. Uh,
mm-hmm.
it's just really interesting how those habits you build need to be rewired or worked over.
But again, that's something that he's doing for somebody else. He's not doing that for himself, which is just so interesting. I was struggling at the beginning of our episode to see how the whole thing was going to tie together. I was like, wow, this is quite a few different subjects. But that is just so interesting. Again, what he's doing, the way that he's honing into his responsibility is for other people, and so he's not giving himself. He might be giving himself the fun that he wants, but he's not respecting himself for what is due to the responsibility that he could hone into. Like he was able to do that for his grandma to own his house, but he wasn't able to respect himself enough, his future potential enough to give that back to himself. He was only able to do it for his grandma. So anyways,
Well,
note to self, love
I think
yourself.
that's a super interesting thing, and maybe we need to come back to that. But different people are motivated by different things, um, and my motivation is very much more about others than it is about myself, um, and maybe
Yes.
to an unhealthy extent. But um, I, you know, I could live on a boat in the ocean pretty affordably if I needed to. Um, Not everybody can do that.
Hmm.
Uh, and so it's just like you got to really think through what motivates you and drives you. Um,
You mean, but you don't, because you have the responsibility of all of the people that you have had to work. Sorry, I wanted to finish the thought for you
yeah, yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. No, like for me, like housing costs. I was talking to a guy the other day who's living in Peru, working for an American company, um, and he's about to move to South Africa. Um, and he just he's a digital nomad. He goes wherever the rent is cheapest and where his family can have a nice lifestyle and be comfortable and have wild experiences. It's like,
Mm,
wow, that's like
that's such a cool choice.
too
But
much.
if he's got his family and he's doing like it's the people he's chosen to care for, and he's still
Right.
doing it in a good way.
In a very different way. In a very different way. And I think that's a great thing. I think it's a
Yeah.
great thing that he's found a way that he feels is super important to his family. And it's just been a challenge for me.
Well, and then maybe next week we will talk about the concept of responsibility and how that plays into how our career grows, because I feel like that could be an interesting an interesting topic and an interesting comment. But we are, I mean, at
Out
time
of time.
enough. Most certainly. Thank you to any listeners who are still with us, who are joining us, who will come back again the next time we have another one for you. It's so easy to be like tomorrow, but we're definitely not dropping them every day. So thank you for listening. Thank you for coming. We will talk to you all again very soon. Leave comments if you have them, leave questions if you have them, reach out to us if you want to. We always want to connect with all of you. But thanks and bye for now.
See ya.